Roopsi ma'am, please go ahead. We are live now.
Roopsi, please unmute yourself.
A
Yes,
very
please.
good
Go ahead.
evening. A very good evening to our honorable guest speakers, Dr. Prakash Bharjatia, Engineer Sudhir Patil, Dr. Ashish Malik, Mr. Neeraj Arora, and Mr. Shubhrata Rath. And a very warm welcome to everyone, our researchers, faculty, and dear student. On behalf of Access College, Kanpur, I would like to welcome our honorable guest and each aware participant. Before we start, I would like to thank Access College Chairman Mr. Raj Kushwaha sir for promoting this initiative that is a vision towards a sustainable future under the title of Nischay, a knowledge series. And I would also like to thank our director sir Dr. Ashish Malik for guiding us and giving this opportunity to represent as a coordinator Access SOCM student chapter. Here I am architect Roopsi Gupta, working as an associate professor in the Department of Architecture in the Access College, and I would like to give a brief introduction about myself too. Since last few series, I am here as a moderator, and earlier I was associated with Hotel Leela Venture Limited, Mumbai, and Sanjay Puri Architects in Mumbai. Here today I will be presenting as a role of moderator. So as heading toward our session for today's webinar, as we all know that our today topic is energy efficient lighting using controls and automation under the title Nischay 6, which is organized by Access College, SOCM, GEM Green Building Council and ISLE. So in simple word, I would like to introduce our topic, which means how can we save the electricity while maintaining good quality and quantity of light using lighting controls and automations for extended energy saving opportunities. So heading towards our today's webinar, it's a great pleasure to introduce our first speaker, Mr. Neeraj Arora, sir. As we all know that Neeraj sir is Senior Director and Head in GEM Green Building Certification Program, and he is associated with the ASSOCHAM, which is the Associated Chambers of Commerce and Industry of India, which is placed in New Delhi. And we all know as ASSOCHAM is the apex chamber of India, serving the nation since 1920s. And I would like to give a brief introduction about Neeraj sir, that he is also head of GEM Green Building Certification Program and ASSOCHAM National Council on Environment and Climate Change, Water, and ASSOCHAM National Council on Education and Skill. So this is a very short introduction about Neeraj sir, as he has done many projects, around 200 projects in green buildings in national level and in abroad level as well. And during his 18 years of educational and professional work experience. Sir, Neeraj sir, over to you now.
Thank you, Roopsi. Thank you for the wonderful introduction. Thank you so
Thank you,
much.
sir.
Ji. And before starting of my talk, I would like to extend my deep gratitude to ISLE, Indian Society for Lighting Engineers, and Access Colleges for organizing this wonderful webinar. So friends, as you all know that our today's webinar is on energy efficient lighting using controls and automation. And for this, we have eminent speakers, from ISLE, we have Dr. Prakash Bharjatia ji, we have engineer Sudhir Patil ji, and Dr. Ashish Malik ji also. So I would like, on behalf of ASSOCHAM GEM Green Building Council, I would like to welcome these eminent speakers for the day. Uh, so friends, as you all know that ASSOCHAM has a GEM Green Building Certification Council, and under this GEM Green Building Certification Council, under this GEM Green Building Certification Program, we certify the buildings and built environment as green rated. So what we do is we review the buildings, building design, buildings and built environment and on the basis of a certain criteria, we award the buildings as GEM rated. So while we review the buildings, we study the environmental aspects of the building, landscape, energy, water, daylight, fresh air, material which is used to design a building, and there are so many other factors also. So and friends, lighting plays a very, very important role in any building design. Lighting, especially lighting controls. So, if your lighting design is efficient, if you are designing the, proper lighting for a building, you can save huge energy in lighting. You must have heard about LPD, lighting power design, which is, watt per square feet kind of. So there is a certain requirement given in NBC, and if you design your building, at a reduced lighting power density, you will be able to save huge energy because building consumes lots of lighting, add lots of energy in lighting. And second, when you have designed your building on a proper lighting design, when you have designed your building at a very suitable lighting power density, then comes the role of control of lighting. So again, with a proper control and with a proper design, you can save huge lighting energy. So our today's topic is exactly on that. And in ASSOCHAM GEM Green Building Certification Program, we also support energy efficient lighting design and energy efficient lighting through using controls and automation. Controls and automation plays very, very important role in efficient energy efficient lighting. So I will not take much time and would like to give the chance to our another expert speakers, Prakash Bharjatia ji, Sudhir ji, and Ashish Malik ji, to talk on the subject. So thank you so much once again, ISLE, Access College, Roopsi ji especially, for inviting me for this wonderful
Thank you,
webinar.
sir.
And I would like to extend my thanks to the audience also, because on this day, on a weekday at 4 o'clock, you are attending this webinar. I can see excellent attendance for the program. So thank you so much, all attendees, for joining us. So over to you, Roopsi. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. So, thank you, Neeraj sir. Now, as we are moving toward our another eminent speaker, Dr. Prakash Bharjatia sir. He is honorable member of ASSOCHAM, National Council for Green and Eco-Friendly Movement, that is GEM, and Director Education and Training, ISLE. Sir is associated with ISLE as a governing body member, and as I told you that he is director also in GEM, and having 20 years experience of design, development, implementation, training and maintenance of quality management and environment management, laboratory management. Dr. Prakash sir worked with the Central Institute of Road Transport and MIT Group of Institution, Pune. He is also an honorable member of ASSOCHAM. Dr. Prakash sir, a warm welcome from all of us, and over to you now.
Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
And my screen is also visible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you, Roopsi, for a
Thank you,
nice
sir.
introduction. I welcome all the guest speakers and also participants on this evening. Fine weather everywhere, almost, I think, all over India. So I welcome on behalf of me and also the Indian Society of Lighting Engineers, all the participants. In brief, I will just tell about the ISLE. That is, it is a professional body of scientists, engineers, architects, academicians, researchers, designers, students, and all others who are interested in the subject of lighting. It is I'm proud to say that we have completed now 38 years ISLE after its establishment. Our aims and objectives are promoting the art, science, and practice of lighting technology, advancing education and research in lighting technology, formulating lighting codes, guides, and technical reports, maintaining liaison and technical interaction with national and international organizations, cooperation with the Bureau of Indian Standards, and providing guidance to young engineers for career improvement. Some of the important activities we are undertaking is one is the National Lighting Code, we are a part of the like National Building Code, other code you must have heard. There is a National Lighting Code, which defines per se the different type of lights, street light, aviation light, railway light, train light, bus light, transport light, all sorts of light, including your home lighting. So this is National Lighting Code, and ISLE plays an important and major role in that, in formulation and revision. And next is the National Lighting Center, Center of Excellence. Towards that, we are working. We are also working towards the certification for lighting designers like NCQLP in USA. We want to introduce in our country also. Apart from skill development, we are conducting a lot of seminars, programs, awareness programs for students on energy savings. And also we are a part of any educational program in the country the last 38 years. This is our organization. We operate through 7 state centers throughout the country, 4 majors and 3 other centers. This Karnataka, Madhya Pradesh, that is Indore, and Rajasthan at Jaipur. Then we have got a provision of the local centers. So then we have got a local centers at Pune, Bhubaneswar, Guwahati, and other places. Similarly, we have got student chapters, which I will discuss later on, 17 student chapters throughout the country. We are closely associated with the government agencies like Bureau of Energy Efficiency, Bureau of Indian Standards, Ministry of Power. Also, we have got international affiliations with the ISNA, USA, Element Engineering Society, then Lux Pacifica, Institution of Lighting Engineers, and also the SAARC countries. The governing body, present governing body is headed by Mr. Dilip Kumar, who is the president and is also the CEO of the K-Light group of industries, you must have heard. So, and then Mr. H. Mukherjee, Vice President, Dr. Mandal is Honorary General Secretary, and Mr. Balasubramanian, Honorary Treasurer. Then we have got a different 5 directors for the different activities, and that I am playing the role of as a Director Education and Training. Our major activity, as I mentioned, is the National Lighting Code, which was first edition was made around 10 years back in 2010. But since along with the time, technology changes, requirement changes, so now it is under revision and almost it is under finalization. And that role was given to ISLE for coordinating the complete this activity, which maybe by 2 months it is going to be now published a revised National Lighting Code 2010. Another important activity, as I said, that during COVID there was a lot of substandard items were being sold in the market for the under the name of the ultraviolet protections and all that. So to take to curb an substandard quality product, we had given a position statement on germicidal UV ultraviolet irradiation to the Bureau of BIS, ISI. And now it is being worked out to make a specification. As Mr. Neeraj sir said that we signed a MOU with SOCHM about a year back, and we are happy that so far we have conducted 12 programs with SOCHM in the subject of lighting. And we also publish a magazine every 2 months that is known as Light India International, which is shared with all our members throughout the country. Now, as for lighting education, as mentioned, we play a very important and major role, even starting from 1993, when Jadavpur Institute, they started the course, ISLE supported it. Subsequently, at Manipal in 2003, then in Pune, MIT School of Energy and Lighting, first ever industry-oriented techno-managerial PG program in lighting technology and energy management was launched in 2007. Similarly, Mayur Institute we conducted and introduced the program in 2013. Then lighting design module was introduced in architecture of Bharati Vidyapeeth, Deemed University Pune in 2017. Then we also conducted a 6-month certificate course last year, and again it is there, and computer-aided certificate course in October 2020. And now we have got 17 student chapters with around 4,000 students across the country. Education e-course I just mentioned, we completed successfully e-certificate in basics of last year, 25th May to 1st of December 2020. We also conducted a computer-aided lighting design e-course And now another course, it is going to be started from 25th August to 23rd October 2021. E-certificate course on basics of LED lighting and illumination and lighting design, comprising of 20 lectures. And this program is also being supported by the SOCHM. It's a paid program and the fees is around 23,600 rupees. Those who want the details, this is the email address is given there. You can contact it. A student chapter, as I mentioned, minimum requirement, there are minimum 25 students and 2 faculty members has to be life members. And fees is very minimum, 500 rupees for the full course of 4 to 5 years. And then of course, those who want only for a year, then it is 300 rupees only. Benefits, exposure to the subject of lighting and illumination, factory visits, help in projects, help in placement, discount in events organized, supported by ISLE, and e-copy of ISLE newsletter. These are the benefits for the student members. This is our fee structure, very nominal fees is there. So you can have a look at that. There is a provision of an entrance fee and also the lump sum for annual membership. So with this, I welcome to the world of lighting. Get enlightened. Let us interact. Thank you. Thank you, Roopsi.
Thank you, Prakash sir. And I would suggest that whatever fee structure and what is the procedure for doing this course, you can post this thing in our chat box also, so that the participant who are interested can also note it down, that all these details.
Okay, yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank
Yes,
you, sir,
sure.
for the brief introduction about this ISLE. It's a very new topic for us also. I hope the students of all the department, even from architecture and the other technological department also, will be interested for the further in this ISLE program. Thank you, Prakash, sir.
Even in the architecture also, lighting plays a very, very important role.
Yes,
so I
sir.
suggest that all the architecture colleges are students, they can take the benefit.
Yes, sir. Sir,
Thank you.
surely we will. Thank you, sir. Now we are moving toward our next eminent speaker, our director, sir, from Access College. I would like to introduce I would like to give brief introduction about sir. Dr. Ashish Malik, sir, is director in Access Colleges, Kanpur, and he is alumnus of Thapar University from Patiala, and he is having a wide 18 years of experience in teaching industry and research. He has published more than 25 research papers with international journals and conference with 7SI and Scopus, and he is a chartered engineer and associated with various professional societies like IEI, ISTE, SESI. In addition to this, he is Secretary General with the Solar Energy Society of India. A very warm welcome to sir. Sir, over to you now. Sir, your voice is not audible, sir. Sir, mic, maybe mic is mute. Sir, no, sir, there is no voice. Sorry for the disturbance. I think there is technical issues, so we will move forward to our next eminent speaker, who is our guest speaker and the keynote speaker for today's session, which is based on energy efficient lighting using controls and automation. So I would like to give a brief introduction about Engineer Sudhir Patil, sir. Sudhir sir is founder and CEO Leap Infosystems, a convergent lighting controls and automation product company. He is creative and experienced professional with a deep knowledge and broad experience of 25 plus years in product management and technology products and services. He is the founder and CEO of Leap Infosystems, a convergent lighting controls and automation product company. He is a life member of Indian Society of Lighting Engineers, serving as the Honorable Secretary for ISLE Pune local chapter. Before founding Leap Infosystems, Sudhir sir has two more startups to his credit, that is Gensoft Services and Qualia Software. Currently at Leap, Sudhir sir has clear focus to drive the IoT wave for building and delivering convergent lighting controls and automation technology. A very warm welcome to sir. Sir, over to you now.
Thank you, Rupsiji, for that
Thank you,
wonderful
sir.
introduction.
Thank you, sir.
I am just taking a minute or maybe a second to share my screen
Yeah, okay, sir.
and just confirm as soon as
Yes,
you
sir.
can.
Sir, it's legible here.
Okay, and you all see the presentation,
Yes, sir.
which is in full screen, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. Thank you, Rupsiji,
Okay, thank you,
for that
sir.
wonderful introduction and great. So I think the whole topic today is been very well introduced as Neeraj sir started highlighting the importance of energy efficiency, specifically in the context of lighting, right? So I thought that why not to take a topic which can really take the energy efficiency to the very next level, because there is a lot of awareness around in terms of energy efficiency, specifically in a context of lighting, how LEDs or LED as a technology can help all of us to save save the precious electrical energy for us. So today's topic is energy efficient lighting using controls and automation. So friends, I will try and make this whole topic, I'll try and keep this whole topic very light, because some of you might believe that it's controls and automation, right? So we might have to get into a lot of technologies. No, if that is the thought, probably that's wrong. The topic or the concept, what I'm trying to highlight today is what are different opportunities for us to really take advantage of and then ensure that we are saving electrical energy. Of course, the whole context, the whole subject is all about lighting. So I'm going to restrict the focus today on controls and automation for lighting. But before we move there, let me just take you to about what is really lighting and energy efficient lighting, right? We all know that virtually we all cannot exist without lighting, and that is the fact, right? As the industrialization, as the consumption of electrical energy is increasing day by day, the focus is now on how we can save electrical energy consumed on lighting. And we must be thankful to LED as a technology, which has definitely helped us almost in a tune of 40 to 50% of reducing the lighting load just by replacing the existing lighting technology using LEDs, right? So this is a very obvious way when it comes to saving electrical energy in a lighting industry. Everybody is literally talking about using or replacing or changing LEDs as a lighting source and reduce the lighting load as compared to the traditional light sources, which were like incandescent, the fluorescent, halogen, sodium vapor, and whatnot. Or right. So against all these different light sources, no doubt the LED as a technology is highly efficient in terms of its consumption of electrical energy to produce the light source. Not just that, it is also efficient in terms of its life cycle, its life as a whole. So as compared to the previous technologies who had maximum 1 or 2 years of a life, today's light manufacturers are talking about minimum 5 and 7 years or maybe roughly around 50,000 to 1 lakh burning hours. That's definitely a huge life cycle or life every luminaire source has, right? So all this put together, we as a generation definitely have this opportunity to reduce a lot of load or a lot of burden on the energy in the lighting domain. But today, when we visit different factories or commercial offices or large facilities, right, you will find this situation very normal. In spite of having sufficient, and if not sufficient, a good amount of daylight, you will still find the artificial light sources or lights or luminaires are still on. And I believe you all would agree who have this opportunity to visit these factories or any offices and experience this phenomenon, right? And that's where the question comes in. No doubt, LEDs are helping us to reduce the lighting load. Can there be an opportunity to save a further light, right? And I definitely answer is yo. It's not rocket science, because we already have the if not complete full, but some part of lights available. And in fact, I'm sure like there would be many architects also as a participants in this webinar. Today's buildings are beautifully, and not just beautifully from the aesthetics point of view, but also from the sustainability point of view, are designed in such a fashion that your buildings or facilities are consuming a lot of natural resources. And one of the natural resources is light. So you will find that if it is an office or maybe a commercial building, you have lots and lots of glass facades, right? Apart from all other benefits of using glass facade, one of the biggest benefits is the ample amount of light available. Second, if you look at the industrial scenario, then probably you have north light structure or maybe those transparent sheets effectively used so that we have light available or daylight available within the premises. But the whole point is that in spite of such designs, you will still find on average 80% of luminaries are still on. And that's where the question comes in. Are there any other opportunities or ways we can definitely make use of such kind of a light available and add a further energy savings on it? And that's the topic, friends, I'm going to really leverage on. And apart from that, there is also another subtle need today in the industry, or for that matter, wherever we have the large facilities or buildings, managing these large facilities has become really difficult. And the moment we have human intervention, no doubt there are certain issues in terms of leakages. And when I'm saying leakages, in terms of like we missing to switch off the light and all that, right? So that is also contributing a sizable amount of wastage in electrical energy. And second, in terms of maintenance, at times it becomes extremely painful and difficult to maintain such large facilities if it is completely manual. And that's where even the controls and automation is coming our way to solve these problems. One, of course, is energy efficiency, and second, to make the operations and maintenance a very smooth and easy process. This I already talked about, right? So obvious approach of saving energy in a context of lighting is just simply replace your lights with LEDs. But the whole question I'm raising today with this audience is that why can't we really think other opportunities to save further energy? Who don't want savings, right? And when we have technologies available, I believe we all should definitely pursue those opportunities and make it to more and more towards more and more sustainable by reducing the overall electrical energy consumption. So before we dwell into the further topic, let me just highlight when I'm saying lighting controls, what does it really mean? Now, lighting controls is certainly not new. I believe it is there. It is in existence since the day Edison invented the light. How? We all know that even today we use lighting control in all our houses, offices, factories, everywhere in a form of single switch, right? Whenever we don't want light, we just switch it off. Whenever we want light, we switch it on, right? So when we say control, we are definitely aware about a basic forms of controls that generally we call as a manual control. When we talk about, let's say, automation, what has happened is that this control is now converted or automated using different forms and means. And one another way we know is sensors. I'm sure many of you might have seen these occupancy sensors, right? The moment the occupancy is detected, light is switched off, on. And when there is no occupancy detected, it is switched off. To take it further more interesting in terms of automation, I'm sure many of you are also aware about those home automation applications using your mobile phones, right? To switch on and off light, to dim it down, vary the intensity. And nowadays, even we have Alexa who listen to us and switch on our lights, right? So friends, what I'm trying to tell you that these are different means and forms of lighting controls and automation. But the whole point I'm trying to raise, certainly I don't intend to get into a different use cases. My whole intention, as I started with the topic, that energy efficiency, right? So when we are asking Alexa to switch on the light, certainly the intention or the objective is not to save energy, right? It's just a convenience. So lighting controls and automation has a different purposes, different objectives. So for example, if you look at a hospitality industry or hotels, right? There, the basic purpose of using controls and automation is to give that comfort and convenience to the guests. So more than energy saving, their interest is actually that comfort and convenience, because that's the need of their business. So what I'm trying to hint, you know what? The technologies are available. It's time to use those technologies and create certain meaningful application and meaningful use cases which can also give us energy efficiency. And what are those applications and technologies? So for example, in today's modern world, we have this connected lighting controls and automation. Sometimes it is called as lighting management systems. Another, I'm sure many of you might have heard, if not, I'm going to elaborate this a little more, called dynamic daylight harvesting. And I believe this is the a way to really leverage the available ambient or natural light in your premises and reduce the load on energy consuming light sources. And third is a human-centric lighting. Probably I'll not spend a lot of time on that because that's a different and whole topic in altogether. But my whole point is that today industry is embracing available technologies and creating different meaningful applications for saving energy, for elevating the operational excellence in your large and different building and facilities. Friends, the reason I'm referring to large and industrial and building and facilities, you know what? Reason, because these are the use cases which really deliver that energy efficiency there. So if you're talking about a home automation application, as I said, right, there the objective is to have a convenience, so that I don't have to like stand up and then reach out to that switch and then switch it on and off. All right. So my focus today on this particular conversation is only large building facilities, warehouses, etc., and how we can use controls and automation to save electrical energy there. Moving on, these are some of the end results or the objectives we as a consumers, we as a beneficiaries can definitely expect if we are using controls and automation for lighting as a faculty. So for example, energy efficiency, I already talked about. The basic form is that whenever we don't need light, those has to be switched off. Now we have the manual switches, but believe me, it is not really possible in spite of all those instructions given to the human beings or the operators there. So let's accept the fact that it requires automation, and at times it is good because we are definitely saving a good amount of lighting energy, electrical energy there. Second, When we are saying energy efficiency and automation for that matter, now in a context of automation, I'm not only talking about scheduling. So for example, all the lights will switch on at 8 a.m. if my office is starting at 8 a.m. and let's say switch off at lunch hour, switch it on again after lunch, and then switch off again at the end of the day. This is a very basic form of automation where we are just scheduling the lighting switching operation. But today's technologies are available which help you to even change the intensity of the light fitting or light fixture. And that's what we call as dimming, right? So taking advantages of those technologies, there are additional avenues which I'm going to explain as we progress in this conversation. Certainly by doing this automation, we are definitely avoiding a lot of wastage, right? And that's the objective industries and consumers and the beneficiaries are really looking at. Operations and maintenance, right? I did mention this, right, at some time before that virtually it is difficult to manage a building of, let's say, 10-story if we do not have really automation and control there. Imagine that particular operator has to reach out to those MCBs or the switches, switch it on, switch it off and whatnot. And then time delays and the maintenance and whatnot, right? And this is where another area of the clear benefits of using controls and automation, how I'll definitely talk about as we progress. And third, which I believe is completely ignored. And I'm really glad when I read certain articles about the seriousness in today's lighting designers about health and well-being. Because as we know that the lower illumination has a direct impact on our health, right? It causes the strain on our eyes and ultimately it results into a lot of stress and all whatnot. Exactly in same fashion, the over illumination has also adds to the negative impact of health and well-being, right? And that's where maintaining the right light, and we at our work, we have this theme and everywhere we use it, that right light at right time at right place. I think all designers has to maintain this theme, this motto, and definitely use the technologies which is available at their disposal. And I remember Neeraj ji mentioning about LPD, right? And then if you maintain those LPDs, definitely you gain those points which are really required for you to get the green certifications. And that's where the controls and automation comes extremely handy, because you are not just only able to achieve it, but you are able to achieve your targets of LBD much before or much below the given attributes. So these are some of the benefits which the controls and automation as a technology is bringing on the table. So friends, let's look at how this is possible. I refer something called daylight harvesting, right? I'm sure like the moment you heard this, you might have thought over what does it really mean? And let me explain this. This is a little animation. As you see here, these are light fixtures. This is the window and where you have access to the natural light, right? And this is general scenario. In spite of here, you have the access to the natural light. All these lights are on. I can understand about these light fixtures because there may not be sufficient light here. But unfortunately, our switching or lighting system does not provide that mechanism. And even if it is there, let's say you have a separate button for or separate switch for here, these lights and separate switch for light. Ask a question sincerely, how many times we really go and switch off these lights? And the fact is hardly 10% is really operational. 90% we still see all the light fixtures are on. So what does daylight harvesting, or that for that matter dynamic daylight harvesting means? This is your light fixture, sorry, this is your sensor, which is actually sensing the available light in the premises, and it is feeding that information to the intelligent controller, who is aware what is the light requirement in lux for this zone and what is the light requirement for this zone. And based on that, the controller automatically tune the intensity level wherever they find the lux levels are already met. It's a simple concept wherein we are trying to leverage the available light in the premises, measure it by today's technologies like sensor, and use that as a feed to control the intensity wherever. And that's how we are saying that right light at right time at right place. Imagine like afternoon 1 o'clock, right? When we have ample amount of light, probably you will find all these luminaires are switched off. And that's the beauty. And I'll talk about the numbers if the time permits, how much energy savings you can really attain. But just to elaborate this further in a mathematical way, let's say you are designing the space to work at 300 lux. And now in order to operate that 300 lux, right, you as a lighting designer will select the type of luminaires, the wattage of luminaires to ensure the LPDs and all that stuff, right? That's the designing part. In such a fashion that even in night time, you will have 300 lux. But what's happening in day? Probably you have some amount of light available from the not light structure or maybe glass facades or the light windows. Imagine that available light is, let's say, 200 lux. And we want 300 lux. So ideally what should happen? We should only get the 100 lux because that's the delta, that is the deficiency in terms of the light requirement, right? That's what is happening in this case because my sensor is telling me that in this particular space, we have 200 lux. You need to tell and inform the light fixtures there to only generate 100 lux. It's a feedback, feed forward mechanism, and it's happening automatically. That's the reason it is dynamic. What it means, the moment the available natural light goes beyond 300, automatically these light fixtures are turning off. Let's say if it is 250, then the light fixtures are only giving 50. If it, let's say if it is only 100, light fixtures are giving you 200. I hope you could connect the dot and understand the simple concept we are trying to leverage using the controls and automation. Now let me give you certain numbers, right? Let's say a factory or a warehouse. Most of the times you will find a single light fixture there is of around 100 to 150 watt. And such you have hundreds and 200s of the light fixtures. Due to this, because most of the times in all the seasons, we have ample amount of light. And in fact, that's the advantage of India from the geography point of view, right? Except let's say monsoons, most of the times we have a good amount of light. And definitely in Indian context, we can make use of this as a concept and a technology to save a lot of energy. So going back to this example, let's say we have 100 luminaires, 100 watt each, right? And due to this dynamic daylight harvesting, even if you save, let's say 30% of intensity from a single fixture, 30 into 100, that's the potential saving. And I'm not just giving mathematical numbers. We have live examples of certain industries using this technology and saving lots and lots of energy. And I can share many more details in terms of mathematical calculations around this. But this is the simple concept. So friends, time has come now. We go beyond the basic comfort and convenience of lighting controls like dimming down using Alexa, mobile app, all that. It's all good. I'm not against that, right? But I'm trying to attract everybody's attention to such kind of areas where there lies the real benefit. And it is very well possible. Now, apart from energy saving, there is also a lot of other benefits, and let me highlight some of them with these lights. And I have been talking about that it is operationally difficult to maintain and manage and operate such large facilities, right? So imagine you are sitting in one particular room of a factory where on your computer, you can visualize the way you see in this in this slide each and every light fixture on the floor. And these are not just light fixtures pictures, it is live status. Sitting at your desk, you can see which light is off, which light is on. Right? That is the attribute of operation. In case of maintenance, you don't have to go and reach to that floor. Sitting here at your desk, you can simply select a particular area and manually control those lights. We already talked about lighting automation with the basic human occupancy, daylight harvesting, dynamic daylight harvesting, scheduling, and whatnot. Third is very important from the industry's point of view, friends. And let me elaborate this a little more. In today's scenario, if you look at our industry, or for that matter in offices, right? If something goes wrong with the light fixture, there is a whole lot of workflow involved. Somebody has to inform to the maintenance team, right? Then maintenance team will arrive, request for the shutdown. They'll bring the lift, climb up because that light fixture is fitted around 7, 8, 10 meters. Then there they will understand, okay, this light or LED is good, but the ballast beside is faulty. So they'll come down, go to the store, and all that process will happen, right? In this process, either you have taken valuable shutdown, which is causing, which has halted the production, and if not, it has involved a lot of manpower. The whole idea is that what if the maintenance team is able to understand right there and there itself in real time, the moment the light is faulty, this light is communicating to the concerned team that I am faulty, I am in hall number 7, bay number 5, light number 3. And I am faulty because my ballast is faulty. This ballast was fitted on 1st January 2015. Entire information along with the fault cause is available with the maintenance team even before visiting the floor. We are straight away reducing the one visit of that maintenance team to the floor. So is the impact on the shutdowns and the reducing the turnaround time. But moreover, look at the experience for the occupants. Right? Without impacting their work, we are able to service them. These are the very important benefits beyond energy efficiency. In fact, there are certain use cases, friends. Industries are using this not only for energy savings, because energy saving is byproduct for them. They don't want to disrupt their production. And then another important is data analytics. We all today understand how important data is. So with today's lighting controls and technologies, you can actually measure a lot of data points. So for example, system like this can tell you how much energy has been consumed by your lighting systems without using energy meters. Because we at a control system have access to each and every luminaire. We are literally monitoring the luminaire is burning at 100% for how much time. If it is on at 50% intensity, how much time? And all those intelligent algorithms are available in the controller to keep calculating the consumption. Moreover, if we are using daylight harvesting, it can also help you to give a right data that how much energy we have saved because of the daylight harvesting. So the whole point I'm trying to highlight is that if somebody tells you today this LED is going to work for 50,000 burn hours, what is the way for you to measure? You don't have today. But technologies like this can give you that capability, and our systems can actually measure a particular group of lights has already consumes 25,000 of burning hours. That means it also gives me a message that this light is only going to run for 25,000 burning hours. And then I need to start my process of procurement if it is required. Look at the linkages and how this data can be effectively used. It's not about energy saving. Now I'm talking about that, how I can reduce the inventory. and whatnot. So these are some of the benefits I'm trying to highlight, and this is just elaborated version of what I was talking about. Dashboard, remote monitoring and controls, daylight harvesting, automated fault controls, energy monitoring. This fault diagnosis I talked about, right? Those faults can also be sent over email and SMS, by the way. And nowadays there are technologies coming up, they can also send over WhatsApp, by the way. That's the power of today's technology and the controls and automation, and we can leverage for the meaningful applications. These are some of the benefits. It definitely helps you to reduce the cost of lighting operation, no doubt about it. I already talked about 100 lights with 100 watt each, right? And we can easily save around 30 to 40% of lighting load on top of your electrical savings due to LEDs. This is additional saving because of the controls and automation. Reduce shutdown time. All these are intangible benefits. Comfort and convenience, and definitely data-driven decisions are some of the direct benefits these technologies are bringing to our disposals today. These are some of the applications which I am talking about, rather use cases for I'm talking about. Just for your example, like this is the dashboard for a particular warehouse wherein they can see what is the percentage usage of light. So 66% means what? For this time, these lights are on at 66% intensity because they're okay with the 179 lux, because there is no operation here. It's a warehouse. The moment there is an operation, obviously it will reach out to the desired lux. All such things can easily be managed. These are some other user interfaces. This is for, again, industrial scenario. This is for office or commercial scenario. Certain data. We can also tell you the light levels, in which area you have what kind of a lux, what's the trend of a lux and whatnot. Each and everything is available at your disposal. There is no subjectivity, complete objectivity with facts and numbers. And believe me, whatever I talked about, we already have implemented. These are not just research. These are not just concepts. These are real life examples, application available for implementations. And I'm proud to say that we export this technology to many countries, including Europe and US. And of course, we have many such examples, even in India, as far as industries are concerned. So friends, with this, I will pause now and I'm open for the questions. Little more about our company. As I said, I represent Leap Infosystem. I'm managing director and CEO of this company. And we are extremely focused on developing convergent lighting controls and automation technology products. These are some of our products, as you see. And we also provide a lot of consulting services to our customers, our partners globally. I'm open for the questions from the audience.
Yeah, very informative presentation, Sudhir sir, and I hope that this topic was very unique and our audience and all the researchers got to know about this lighting factor too. And I hope I think there are a few questions here. Sir, just give me a moment.
Sure, take your time.
Sir, there is one question about this. Is energy efficiency a parameter for different industries available in India and comparative study?
Interesting question. I may not have a right facts and figures about it, but I believe yes. I am certainly aware these are available in other countries like US and Europe, because some of our customers have referred to us. But if you remember, Barjatya sir talked about a lighting code. right? So precisely this is what the lighting code is. And that's work in progress in a context of India, wherein there are certain recommendations about certain codes which needs to be utilized. And in that context, I think we definitely will arrive and come with those guidelines, if not the rules.
Yes, I would like to throw some light on the National Lighting Code. You know, this National Lighting Code, just I think if some of you are maybe aware, participants, about the National Building Code or some other area. Similarly, there is a National Lighting Code which was first published in 2010, about 10 years back. And then, as I said, along with the technology, as just now our engineer Sudhir Patil explained about the latest technology available for the control. So similarly, that also needed a revision. So that exercise was going on for almost last 1 year. I'm happy to say that it has been completed and that complete responsibility was given to ISLE, and we have submitted the final report to Bureau of Indian Standards, that is ISI, who is the authority in the country to share the to issue the National Lighting Code. Now, in this National Lighting Code, details are given, and it is useful for all the architects, engineers, lighting designers. A different type of application, but different applications like sports lighting, your home lighting, street lighting, then railway lighting, air bus lighting, you know, headlights and all that, which are there, automotive lighting. So all sorts of lighting, you know, whatever you feel, horticulture lighting, horticulture also, you know. Today I'm happy to share that, you know, earlier about say maybe 15 or 20 years back, there were only two light sources, that is either a bulb or the tube light. But now with the LED, its application has become so wide and so useful for the society that it is not restricted only for the illumination. That in प्रकाश सिर्फ देखने के लिए लाइट नहीं है अभी लाइट का बहुत उपयोग है. जैसे हॉर्टिकल्चर में आप अपने जो उपज है उसको बढ़ा सकते हो आर्टिफिशियल लाइट के द्वारा. You know, medical lighting in the hospitals, or if you, I think majority may be knowing about the surgery and the different type of applications. So all these are defined in the National Lighting Code, and which is a very good useful information given in that. Once it is published, of course, it will be available through Bureau of Indian Standards, and one can take a look at that. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Sudhir sir, there are few more questions. Like someone is asking, this question is from Parthiv, but which software is used to design energy efficient lighting?
Okay, so see, designing lighting is different. Probably there are many, and I'm sure more than me, there are experts here in terms of lighting designers, right? So dial, EOLux and all that. So that's the prompt from the point of the lighting design. What I was referring about is from the controls and automation, right? So there are different software, different technologies available. From lighting design point of view, I think there are very popularly used like Dialux, and there are many other variants around it.
Okay, sir. I hope Parthiv got his answer. And one more question is there from Pallav Goyal, that we can send project proposals to client direct or indirect way. I think he want to ask.
So I'm just trying to understand the question.
What the question? This is a little bit dicey type of question. Either I can't get it at what he want to ask. Pallav, if you are live, can you just resend your question? Sir, I think he is. So,
Okay, we can go to the next question.
Sir, there is only few questions. I think no more questions I can see here.
Can I read one question in a chat
Yes,
box?
sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
What would be the percentage cost increase or for adding sensor on each light source? This is a question asked by Danny Julius. I believe it is a very important question. And my response to this is, if you are doing a daylight harvesting, right? I don't think we need a sensor across every luminaire. In most of our project, we don't recommend to have inbuilt sensors for luminaires because that adds up to the cost. Right? I would like to answer this question in a different way. What we have seen in most of the project, the total cost which you required, which is the additional cost to implement automation and controls and the sensor, is recovered less than 2 years if it is an industrial project. I hope I could answer the question there.
Yes, sir. Sir, there is one more question. What is the scope of lighting beyond LED?
Okay. I'm sorry, again, I'm trying to understand the context, but whatever I understand, let me just contribute or try and contribute to this. Lighting beyond LED, so probably the way I look at personally, right? Today, LEDs are only looked for reducing the efficiency. Sorry, reducing the lighting energy. But I believe LED has lots of to contribute. So one thing is that we get a lot of flexibility, not only to change the intensity, but also the CCT part of it. Now, this is very well possible because of the flexibility of the technology available because of LED. And that's where the concept of human-centric lighting and all other things can be easily implemented. So I believe if I need to answer and summarize this question is that beyond LED is beyond energy saving actually, as I was talking about.
Okay, sir. So there Pallav has replied here that he want to ask who will entertain client who want to install this system in his building, an architect or company?
This is very interesting question, and my response to this, because we face this every day in day out, right? Who will bail the cat? I believe for such kind of a system, all the stakeholder has to wear the hat. So right from the architects, right? And I believe this is the fantastic tool available with the architect to turn their vision into reality. Many times we have heard from the architects, designers saying that yeah, we have very good concepts, but unfortunately we are not able to deliver it. Today, friends, you have a technology available which is such a flexible one, which you can use, leverage, and think creative. Because see, it's not we cannot do that creative thinking, and definitely probably it's you or architects comes handy with there, right? So I believe to answer this question, it's not a one person job, it's one stakeholder's job. Architects will visualize, propose, recommend, right? Customers will definitely try to relate if that serves their purpose. The company who provides technology will provide, supply the products. The implementer will implement, right? So it's all stakeholders. I don't think there is one entity who can say that, okay, it's my job.
I hope Pallav got his answer. Sir, you have very well described all the questions of the audience, and I hope audience also got the answers of their questions. So thank you, sir, for such a very informative session. And even I learned a lot as an architect. We used to do so many vast projects in Mumbai, and there also we do familiar with many lighting consultant, but this thing is also a unique thing because at that time I was not aware with so much with green buildings and ASSOCHAM, but attending these sessions, even I learned a lot. And I have also, from our college, many of the faculty also did this certifications course, applied for this ASSOCHAM course also. I hope in future we will also get contribute with ISIL and this LEAP also.
Thank you,
sir.
Rupshi. And I would like to take a minute.
Yes,
I would like. Yes, Sudhir, please.
Just to commend this initiative, because I believe such initiatives are definitely required to take this concept to the root level, right? So with the researchers, to the students who are going to come in the industry tomorrow, design beautiful buildings, sustainable buildings, right? Who can think of technologies like this. So I really commend the initiatives taken by Axis College, definitely well supported by ASSOCHAM and ISLE. So thank you for this opportunity. And I especially love to talk on this topic, which is really close to my heart. I'm really happy, not just for today, but will be happy to contribute in any possible ways going forward. So thank you for this opportunity, ASSOCHAM, Neeraj ji, Dr. Barjatya sir, Dr. Ashish Malik sir, and definitely Rupsi ji for this opportunity. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Uh,
Sir,
hey, 1
Prakash
minute.
sir want
Thank
to
you.
say anything?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, I would like to supplement what Sudhir just now mentioned. That initiative has to be taken by everybody, including, suppose a question was there with the building architect. What I feel personally, today's scenario, more interest or initiative is required by the architects. They need to consider that lighting is a entirely different subject. Unfortunately, I would like to say that I had experienced earlier also and now also. The building, when design is there, when a complete big building is designed or something is there, the electrical engineer, suppose he say, I know about everything about lighting. And they never, interact either with the lighting designer or somebody. And what happens, ultimately the result that you do not get a proper lighting. And now today's technology, what Sudhir very nicely explained in very simple language, how you can save. So, one thing is energy saving, another aspect I think he did not cover, which I would like to mention, it is the pollution. Because the excess light, if you are using, there is a lot of pollution. In fact, globally, they are much more worried because of the pollution due to light. In fact, if given an opportunity, I would like to talk on that maybe an hour or so. So, that is a topic, pollution due to light. And globally, they are much more worried there. That's why I would like to share that in many of the countries in the Europe and other area countries, they have banned the use of the fluorescent, our bulbs, incandescent bulbs. But it is still in India, still, I'm sorry to say, around 70 to 80% they are still using the incandescent bulb, where, because of the energy, 90% energy is going in the heat energy. Only 10% is being used to give the light. Of course, we live in cities, so we do not know real picture what is there in the villages. But villages, if you see, still 80 to 90%, they still use still the old that lattu or globe, what we call it. So this is the time where we have to bring that awareness and save not only the energy but also the Mother Earth. Thank you very much. I must thank Sudhir in a very nice way, in a very simple language. He explained what is the need of the lighting control today. Compared to control was there, as he mentioned very clearly. Switches were there in the past also. But then these switches, if we replace with this technology, which will not cost much, earlier cost was more. But now, because of the time, technology is becoming cheaper and cheaper. So if you can use them, they are beneficial to the individuals, to the society, and I will say to the whole globe. So this is what my say. And I must thank ASSOCHAM for giving me an opportunity, giving ICLE an opportunity to arrange this program. And of course, in the last 4 months, there was some gap. Earlier, otherwise, every month we used to conduct 2 programs on ASSOCHAM and ICLE platform. But now again, we have now geared up, and I hope again next program we are planning on 26th. Already we have booked, and we are going to come out with a very useful panel discussion on that day. So with that, I thank all the participants, those who have spent their time for about an hour or so to listen Sudhir, and also for the interactions. And thank you, Rupsi, for conducting the program so nicely, and also the Axis colleges for giving this program. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Prakash sir. Moving forward, I would just like to convey the message from Malik sir. Actually, he could not able to join the session for today due to some technical issue and some urgent call from management side. So he conveyed his thanks to speakers and ISLE and ASSOCHAM team, and he dropped a message to me that just convey that in future he is planning to explore ISLE student chapter also, and be a part of this good initiative. And he will conduct a quarterly talk with ISLE and ASSOCHAM soon, and next talk will talk with Solar Energy Society of India and ASSOCHAM. So director sir conveyed his message Hope next time he will be here also. Moving forward to our next eminent speaker, Mr. Shubhrat Mr. Shubhrata Rath. He will convey vote of thanks today.
Before that, I
would-
must
I
thank
would-
Dr. Dikshit for accepting our suggestion to bring ISLE student chapter. Definitely, I think we can work a lot in that area. So I have already given my chat email address and the telephone number in the chat box. Those are interested to become ISLE member and to strengthen our activities, they all are welcome. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, sir. Sir, I would like to give brief introduction about Mr. Shubhrata Rath. He will convey vote of thanks today. He is Joint Director in GEM Green Building Certification Program, and he is also associated with the Associated Chamber of Commerce and Industry of India, which is in New Delhi. And Mr. Rath did his master degree in physics from University of Massachusetts, Boston. He is a mechanical engineer and a certified green building professional with more than a decade of experience in India and Middle East Asia in the field of sustainability, teaching, motivation, research, and site implementation, both in building design and construction sector. He is more than passionate about the triple bottom line. The 5 elements of nature and holistic human well-being is what drove him to be a writer, the totemic chase, and a psychological counselor as well. A very warm welcome to Shubhrata Rath. Sir, are you there?
Yeah, I'm there. Thank you, Rupsi.
Yeah,
So
thank you,
thanks
sir.
for that introductions. Yeah.
Thank you,
So I'll
sir.
make it quick and concise. So there is nothing much to talk about in this way that like let's lighten up the mood. So it's all about lightening and everything. So when talking about the life itself, because you are using sentences like lighting up the mood and brighten up the sky and all those things, right? And like illuminations that or we can say that when there is a realization, called enlightened being. So these things always have been our life, lightning. And when you're talking about the efficiency and efficiency of like making life efficient, we have to talk about making all these designs efficient, all the technical aspects efficient as well. So Prakashji, thank you for that. You always have been there with us with Assistant GM with brilliant things, brilliant concepts, and always has been there at the forefront for the lightning efficiency in our industry. Sudhirji, it was we are like enlightened today with your controls related talks and automations, and we will in our Associate GM Green Building Certifications program we have provisions for efficient lightning. And all of these things are related to move forward in this direction. So we will have sessions like that for sustainability awareness. Thank you, all of you. Thank you, Axis College. And even though Assisor is not there, I pay my sincere gratitude to Mr. Malik, wherever he is right now. And thank you, everyone. So thank you, the participants. We had a decent participation today, even at this time, 5 o'clock and 4 o'clock in this evening. We got almost like 250 participants. So thank you all for that. Let's march all together towards an efficient lightning atmosphere. Take care. Back to Rups.
Yeah, thank you, Shubhrata sir. Neeraj sir, do you want to add something?
I think it was a wonderful webinar. So I mean, always when we do a joint webinar with ISLE, so it is it is always a wonderful webinar. So I could see the attendance over here. It was around 250 attendees attending this webinar, and lighting is definitely a area of concern as well as and attraction as well as, because many times lighting is considered as a decorative thing, but from our perspective, because we are green building professionals, and especially I'm a energy auditor, so I look at lighting as a as a energy efficiency or energy saving tool. So if you are designing a proper lighting, you will be saving huge energy. And because lighting is installed, once the lighting is installed, then there is no option to change it majorly. So once while you are designing the building, you should design it properly so that you will be able to save lighting energy for next 5-10 years. So I would request for a proper lighting design with a proper control and automation. That's it. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Okay,
Bye-bye.
thank you, sir.
Thank you, Sudhir ji.
So-
Thank you so much. Thank you, Barjatia Saab.
Thank you, everyone, and thank you, participant, for attending with such a great enthusiasm. And thank you, everyone. Thank you for attending. And in future, we will meet soon with other collaboration too. Thank you, everyone. Good evening and have a great night. Thank you.